Welcome to the Bay Area, that yay area. We break barriers because we way scarier. With our great characters, we way spectacular. There once was a little Asian girl who came from the Bay. Now she's a great SF woman who grew up from the 408. So you can be someone in New York, be someone else in LA. But when you come to SF, be yourself is pretty damn great. Okay, so she didn't care about her math or about her grades or being a lawyer or a doctor. She just really wanted to create. Turned 18 and got on her way. Went to an art college, being all gay, experimenting, living in her lane. Now she was 415 every single day. Yay, 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 yay. Welcome to the Bay. This is the era to be in a nutshell. What else is there to say? Speak the realest shit ever. Then well, do you truly believe in her desire? This album, this bombshell. This is her fire. Listen to her excel. This is hip hop 106.1. This is KMEL. Yo, this girl from the Bay AA hitting your airwaves. You know, you must like just give her your most undivided attention. Yes, 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 cause she's all done asking for permission. She's all ready to bust. You don't hear it often, but when you do, Tifa is a name you can trust. Welcome to the Bay Area, that yay area. We break barriers cause we way scarier. With our great characters, we way spectacular.
Yeah, Oakland, Vallejo, San Francisco, Richmond, San Jose. Stand up, yay area. We yay spectacular, baby. Yee.
Look, she ain't got no empty bars. She's an MC spitting hard with a whole lot of heart. This is her city and it's inspired arts. From 16th and Mission, the very start, to Dolores Park, where she go march, then to Embarcadero to Oakland. She's going through that blue line bar. Wait, okay, I'm gonna go ballistic from a capitalistic systemic vision like ham. Hard as a motherfucker, cause wait, this is conscious rap like damn. If you know me, dismantle the police, get with the program. This is New Year's Eve, '09. Please stop lying. Peace to Oscar Grant. Now, come back to the boom boom room where we will resume, bringing all that's conscious to your conscience from womb to tomb, spitting knowledge through the classrooms, all the way into your homeroom, back to school, out of the Zoom, to real life where we gotta bloom. This is the Bay, the yay, every single day, we live it up, pray, going all the way, brave, all around the world, we the best, yay, touche. There's nothing left to say, shit's fire, so pour it up onto the flambe. Queen Tifa is here to help you trust her, cause she is not here to play. Welcome to the Bay Area, that yay area. We break barriers, cause we way scarier. With our great characters, we way spectacular, way spectacular, like way, I'm talking way, spectacular,
Yeah, we yay spectacular, baby.
Hella.
Bay Area stand up, black, brown unity. Christ one on the beats. H. Scott. T for motherfucking love, yo.
Hey, what's going down, everybody? This is your boy DJ Rowe. We got Anna in the building. This is Global Radio History Night. How you doing, Anna? How's everything?
Doing good. How you doing?
Good.
Yeah, okay, everybody. Check out my profile pic. That's me a couple hours ago with La Russell.
Hey, Anna, can you explain to everybody who La Russell is for the people who don't know?
Well, he's a Vallejo rapper, born and raised, real successful, and he's trying to really get this town going. Not like it isn't, but one of the things he was saying during the show, I mean, for him, it's really nice. He's trying to get more opportunities at home so he doesn't need to tour that much. I first saw him perform, I talked about it before, at the Mad Hatter Parade, and we were all, some of us parade elves were up in this, like, I don't even know what it's supposed to be, Santa's ark. So we were like 2 levels up. So I was looking down at the whole scene, and it was just awesome then. And it was awesome today. I mean, it was pretty fucking cold out then, but he's doing a residency here at the Empress Theater on Sunday afternoons, supposedly for a month, but I think he wants to keep it going. There is more people there downtown Vallejo was the liveliest I'd ever seen it on a Sunday. And it was nice because there were families there. I mean, there was all ages. I'd sort of been thinking about going, and then I called my friend Jamila because I was supposed to go over to her house, and she picks up FaceTime, and I see she's at the Empress, and I was like, why did I even think you'd be at your house? So, I mean, I've only been to a couple live hip hop shows, and it's just so fucking cool. And he had this area like a mattress. It looked like a mattress. I mean, I wasn't gonna go up there so people could dance. And he's got a whole band. I mean, he's rapping, and there's a violin player and a flute player and guitarist and keyboardist and a harp. I mean, I first noticed that at the parade, but then somebody came up to guest and was saying, I mean, you probably would have known who he was. I didn't, but he was saying, you never seen a harp at a hip hop show. And I mean, it was awesome. And one of the things I think is so great about that is he's showing kids so many different things they can do. Because I think certainly, like, well, there's like an assumption made about kids a lot of the time that they only want to be rappers, and this way they can see all this other stuff people are doing. So yeah, there was like a little kid that came up, and so then this guy came up to guest and was rapping like super fast, and I was thinking he sounded familiar to me. I was trying,
Twister.
yeah, 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 yeah. Well, the guy, this young man next to me was like, he'd like given me a couple pointers before. So yeah, yeah, he told me that the guy was in the Guinness Book of World Records. So is he from Vallejo too?
No, he's like from Chicago
Okay, but does he live
or
here?
somewhere over there. But you remember, I don't know if you remember a long time ago,
Yeah,
I
you
showed
showed
you a video.
of somebody doing ASL. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
him.
Well, yeah, and I was,
But you remember, and the girl was doing it like just as fast as he was
yeah,
rapping.
yeah.
That was him.
Well, yeah, and I was wondering if I'd heard him. I was wondering why it sounded familiar, and I think the young man next to me saw that. I was like, oh, like that.
Yeah, Twister is bad, man. That dude could just the way he flows and it's so
Oh my God.
fast.
It was amazing. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
dude is man.
Well, yeah,
I think I'm gonna go to one of them. It looked like it wasn't that bad. I thought it was gonna be packed. I thought it was gonna be super packed.
mm-mm. I thought so. I
So
thought so too.
that's
It
why I
was.
was like, oh no, I ain't gonna deal with that craziness.
Yeah.
But I think the next one, if he does one again, I think I would go to see it.
You should, Ro. I mean, I mean, it's gonna be every Sunday this month. See, that's why when you asked me about it, I wasn't too sure what was happening. I'd just seen that he'd had a residency there. But it's cool because this is this old theater, and so it's showing that they realize that they should include everybody
Right.
yeah, yeah, and at the beginning, well, LaRussell said that there'd been some concern about the crowd, and about how many people there were, and he said, I just told them that my crowd is cool and not, or something like that. And yeah, I mean, it was really chill, I mean, and there was like older people there and older white people there, and people with, like I said, people with kids. And this one lady was saying, I mean, it was great to have a Sunday afternoon thing because then the families will get home and start their week tomorrow. So yeah, it was awesome. And then I'd brought a copy of my graphic novel because which I'd signed, hoping to pass it on to Russell. And I was hanging out afterward with
Did you give it to him?
yeah.
Nah. Oh, Anna, you are awesome, dude.
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah.
thing.
Well, yeah, I was waiting around because I was with Jamila, and Jamila was sort of waiting around too. And I mean, I was expecting her to just go right back. But after a while, I just decided to leave. I had to go pick up a prescription. So I went home and got my car and I drove back down there and got out. And I was like, looking around, there was still a crowd and I saw Jamila and I said like, is he come out yet? And I mean, because people were still sort of like dispersed all over the place, but he was kind of like walking around meeting people at different groups. And she's like, then I was like, oh, he's right there. So yeah, I gave him a hug and said, we took the picture and I said, I thank you for what you do. And I said, I brought you a copy of my graphic novels. There's someone I can hand it to, because that's, I mean, when somebody's like you don't want to just hand them something. So
Right.
yeah. So I gave it to, and he's like, cool, graphic novel, and asked my name. And so, yeah, so that was awesome. That was awesome. So yeah, I hope he reads it.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will.
Well, I mean, he's got kids going to school, same school Jamila's son goes to, and he's
Oh,
involved.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, it's just awesome to see somebody, I mean, like I said, I mean, this is his town. I mean, there should be hip hop happening downtown because it's the community and the community enjoys it and it's their town. Um, a lady was there named Cookie Gordon, and she is going to be a new city council member, and she has an adult son with developmental disabilities, and he was down there tearing it up. I was like, oh, wow, we can. And so she went down to speak and announce who she was, and she said she wanted to thank them for welcoming her son. I mean, he was totally in the mix right there, so that was really nice. It was just a really warm,
Nice.
yeah, and we were all cheering her, and I liked her. I liked her opponent too. I liked both of them. Her opponent, I got to was the incumbent, and I would have had a hard time choosing between the two of them if if I'd lived in that district, because both of them are really from the community. And I mean, Tina's born and raised here, but Cookie's been here for quite a while, and they've raised their kids here and are really involved. And I think that's really important. And I mean, Cookie's been through a lot in her life, and to me, it's just that's who you want in office. You want people in office that can relate to what so many people are going through. And I was talking about this with a friend of mine on Facebook because I don't like when people talk about elected leaders and say they should step down because of their age. I really don't like that. I don't want anybody telling me that when I'm older. There's a lot of stuff I didn't get a chance to do when I was younger. I wasn't able to do stuff like this when I was young. I mean, because of various reasons. And that's the case for a lot of people. And when it comes to running for public office, it's expensive to do it. And a lot of people simply cannot when they're younger. A lot of people can't do it if they are trying to raise a family because they don't have the time. So that's why, like, I mean, somebody with somebody who, say, graduates from law school and their families help them out, and they don't have a bunch of loans, they can make choices where they can make more connections. They don't need to worry as much about working hard. And so, yeah, so some of them, they get into office, they could be there for like, I don't know, like insane amounts of time, but there's people like a couple people like Tina Areola ran for office after she'd retired. I mean, she would, and so that's the case with, and that's the same with other elected leaders I know who have very valuable personal experience that they bring. But the conversation was, that being said, it was a conversation about a member of Congress who has been in a dementia facility for 6 months.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Did you read about that?
No, I heard something, but I didn't
Yeah.
really get too much on that.
I can't remember where she's from, but that is fucked up. She's been drawing a salary for one thing, and
So
that
she's
means,
not even actually there, but she's still kind of like on the books, so to speak.
yeah, she's still a member of Congress. She has not resigned, so it means she has not. And, by the time somebody is put in a care facility, they've been failing for a while. So that means, like, okay, they're saying she's been there for 6 months. That means clearly she hasn't been at work for 6 months. She hasn't been casting any votes or anything for 6 months, but you're severely impaired by the time you get to a facility. So I think her family should be prosecuted. I think it's fraud, basically. And if she's
Are you sure she's not like medically retired?
well, then she should be prosecuted because she's still been getting paid, basically. And
Because
she
sometimes people do get paid still if they're medically retired. I don't know how much she would get paid,
not if you're a member
but
of Congress. I mean, because
oh, they don't do it like that.
no, because only one person can be a member of Congress at a time. I don't know if they
But
get,
you know what I'm saying. Like if you let's just say, like I don't know what her
she's a member of
retirement
Congress, and
age is, or
there can only be, like, with an elected official, there can only be one person at a time. So it's not like she works at a job, because stuff like that happens when somebody, like, in all sorts of
gotcha.
situations, and it's not cool. But it means if an elected office holder is not doing their job, then nobody's doing the job.
So
Then the
technically,
job's
what you're
done.
she's technically still in the position, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. She is still in. Yeah.
It's
She's,
not like they're just paying her and she's not there. She's put under the position like she's still there
well,
instead of being medically out. Wow.
yeah. And so that means her, I mean, to me, it just makes me feel like it is just like looking at her family, just how you, I mean, yeah.
No, I was
Go.
just gonna say, do you think maybe they're using her votes? Like some of them are using whatever she, since she's technically not there. So apparently she had to be doing something for all this time she was not there. It makes you wonder who was doing it, right?
Well, she hasn't been able to vote. You
Exactly.
can't, I mean, I mean, a lot of what these people do is, I mean, they also meet with constituents and stuff like that. So, yeah, they have staffers who can be doing stuff like that. Like I wanted some help from my Congress member and his staffer helped me. So yeah, people in her office can still be doing that. So that's what they're, but no, she is supposed to be casting votes. She is supposed to be representing her constituents. And she's supposed to be directing things. See, like in a facility, I mean, that's the thing with big shot jobs or whatever. I mean, it's elected officials or anything like big jobs. Like, yeah, you got a bunch of staff people um doing a lot of the work, but it is supposed to be at your direction or so if you are in a memory facility, you are impaired. And so, yeah, I think she should have to pay back her salary. And it makes me it makes me angry for the people in her district. Like, I mean, say for some reason someone in well, you do that, I mean, my dad died, my brother's taking care of his or I mean, if for some reason something happened to my family member, um, part and they were not able to fulfill their responsibilities, it's on you to make sure those responsibilities are fulfilled by someone.
Exactly.
And so, man, you talk about entitled. So basically, these people, they must like the prestige of having maybe the relative that's in Congress. So basically they think that her constituents, that the people she represents, that the people that put her in office, and she also represents the people that didn't put her in office, that they don't deserve to have someone representing them, that they don't matter. I think it's one of, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like there's yeah, I mean Dianne Feinstein is an example. I mean, her facilities were severely diminished for years, and the belief was that her staffers were telling her how to vote, basically. Like you would overhear it was, like in meetings, there were some hot mic moments where you could hear somebody telling her what to do. And that's terrible as well. And that is fraud, basically. That is defrauding the people of California. Um, and yeah, so that's terrible. Like in a way that so it's sort of like that's the it is dishonest, it is fraud, but your staffers, the people in your office know what I mean, they know what you want, basically, whether you happen to remember at that moment, they do know what you want. So at least the vote is being cast, even though it is still fraud and yeah, I mean, there was an article recently explaining, it was in the Wall Street Journal, maybe. I'd heard about it, but just explaining, laying out the level of how impaired Joe Biden has been for several years, and that how little contact he had with members of Congress, like the um I mean, people went on the record. Adam Smith, like a Congress member who's the chair of the Armed Services Committee, was trying to reach Biden to discuss the Afghanistan withdrawal with him, and they wouldn't put him through. And he said that, I mean, when Obama was in office, he was saying he was just a member of the committee and Obama would talk to him. I mean, that is why you have these positions. I mean, that is why you have committees and staffers, people that can really become experts on the issues on that one thing, because there's so many super complex issues, and give the president this information. Like, so here is the president not even informed by one of the people who is most knowledgeable. And I mean, that was just horrifying and heartrending, because it's the sort of thing that makes me think that I just felt like the staffers have blood on their hands for that happening. I mean, there are the Taliban were right back within about a week. They've just been, I mean, they closed women's schools, and then they were allowing women to train as doctors so that they could take care of other women. But then they shut that down too. And I saw video of it, of women being in their class. And yeah, I mean, they have to wear like the total, I mean, thing like the bag, these, like, they basically wear bags over their head with a mesh for them to see out. And that is very different from Muslim women covering their heads. It's not even necessarily a Muslim thing, because not all Muslim women cover their hair, and there is a lot of countries where that is just simply what women do, whether they're Muslim or not. It's their part of their culture. So, I mean, I saw a video of women getting that announcement, and they were crying. I was crying. They've now made laws forbidding women to talk to each other. And they made a law that homes should not have windows, so people can't look in and see women. I mean, these guys know exactly what they are doing. They are just saying to the world, fuck you. Because that's insane. I mean, that's worse than it was before. I mean, it did at least I mean, women would spend time with each other. And I mean, or women would go to the grocery store together, go to the market together. And it means that, well, I mean, it means that women that are unmarried, I mean, it's demonstrating that, women are worthless, and unmarried women, or women that aren't going to get married or past childbirth, are really worthless, because, well, I guess they can't live on their own anyway, but that all, like, I mean, the Taliban is just saying to the world, like, fuck you, we could do this. Like, what the fuck? You can't have windows in your house so people can't look in and see women. I mean, that's insane. That's like they're trying to think of what they can do. And I mean, I'm sure that um there's mechanisms they're using to monitor computers because that's pretty easy. So women can't, because I'd wondered about women going online because over the years that's certainly been something that women in cloistered societies have been able to do. But tracking the computer is easy, so I'm sure that they're stopping that. And they passed a law that, I mean, they're trying to like regulate whether women in the same house can even talk to each other. So that's what happened as soon as the United States pulled out. And they blamed it on Trump. They said Trump had already made that arrangement. I mean, it was fucked up. The United States shouldn't have gone into Afghanistan in the first place. They claimed and so the fact that President Biden did not even have his complete facilities with that I mean, they claimed that it had already been put in motion. Well, no, you're the fucking president. You could have stopped it. And people were trying to warn him. My brother has a friend who's been in Afghanistan a lot, and people were calling him, begging to get them out. And remember they were showing flights with people like holding on to the bottom of the plane trying to get out. When there had been women judges and men that they put in jail were released and went to kill them. Yeah. So it just makes me think that wonder whether it could have been stopped. I mean, what the fuck? Who cares? No, I think people had forgotten. I mean, other than soldiers' families, I think people had forgotten that pretty much that there was a war going on in Afghanistan. And to my understanding, I mean, the United States wasn't the only country there. There were other countries who had military there. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't like they were having raging battles because that's not how that country worked. That's not how war there worked. They, they were holding back the terrorists, I guess, and that, they left and the terrorists came right back. And I was watching an interview with a Taliban spokesman, and apparently a lot of these guys don't even live, a lot of the leaders don't even live in Afghanistan. And so they said to the leader, you live in Qatar and your daughters go to school. And he's like, yes, of course. I don't know how they found out about that. I can't imagine they're getting that rigorous of an education, but they're allowed out of the house and they can be together. And so the point of it, I can't remember where I saw that. I have to go find it. But what they were saying is that, I mean, just the point they were making was that these guys don't even believe it themselves. And I don't think that it's not like that makes so much of a difference to women whether they believe it or not. Um, but I mean, I have to go track that down because I was like, wait, you mean a lot of them don't live in Afghanistan? That's weird. Um, but I mean, it's sort of like how um a lot of leaders were enforcing, like Gavin, that California had strict COVID laws, but then people saw him out at a restaurant. And in a way, when I first heard about that, um, I didn't really care that much, but I've listened to more people, and I do care now. I've listened to more people who opposed the lockdown and what it was like for them. Um, and yeah, um, I was listening to an interview with a woman who left. Oh, okay. Well, the point is that a lot of those policymakers sent their kids to private schools, and private schools didn't have the same, private schools could do what they wanted. So when I heard about that perspective more from parents, I was listening to an interview with someone who was saying, she said that, like, okay, basically this was poor kids being kept out of school. And whose parents were essential workers and who didn't have a place to, I mean, it was just everything. Um, I hadn't heard it put that plainly before. I mean, from somebody who was a parent, because she was asked if she had considered sending her kids to private school, and she said, no, I want my kids to go to um, public school. And she was an executive, so it was a woman that um, was an executive at Levi's in San Francisco. So it was about how alienated she began to become from San Francisco. And that was part of it, because like her peers who were executives and wealthy people had kids that went to private schools. And she was saying that, I mean, the parks were closed. And I was talking about that with my brother-in-law, and he said, yeah, the parks were closed in Seattle. And so, yeah, so I did get more mad at Gavin. I'm mad at him for some other stuff now too. When I saw that, I mean, I hadn't really thought about it that much, or how different. I hadn't thought about how much difference it made between public schools and private schools. I mean, I hadn't really had too much reason to think about it. Um, my friend who teaches third grade told me that that it's the worst year he's been teaching for many years. He said it's the worst year that he's ever had. And I said, it's the COVID kids, right? And he said, yeah, that it was a disaster for all kids. But I mean, these were kids that didn't go to kindergarten or first grade, when you're basically, you know, you're supposed to they can't sit in class. He said they can't hold a pencil, they can't, I mean, all this stuff that is such a struggle anyway with this generation because they're on their phones all the time. So you've got lower income people whose kids can't go to school who are essential workers, many of them. So they have to go to work. It's not like they didn't have, people that work in service jobs and all that stuff, not people that are lawyers and programmers who could work at home. And so, um, I mean, we still don't have the numbers. I was talking about it. I remember talking about it with my brother at the time about the lockdown, and we were talking about how it would be, whether the law, how it would play out historically, what the effect of the lockdowns really were. And I guess apparently, again, and I talked about it with my brother-in-law too. I mean, not only did he and my sister have kids, he's a teacher. And he was saying that the risk to kids was just really exaggerated. I'd have to go back and look at the numbers because it seems like that. I mean, I remember at the beginning of COVID, you were hearing about all these crazy numbers of people dying, and you were hearing about whole families dying. And after a while, it seemed like you didn't hear about it. And um, I guess what they're saying is that kids weren't even that much at risk, and that, and I know we talked about it at the time with the show, and I said, which is true. I mean, if your kid catches COVID, you're not going to care about the other stuff, but it's not just COVID. I mean, you are looking at so many. I mean, if you're not looking at it personally, if you don't need to look at it as individual kids, because if your individual kid dies of COVID, you're going to be inconsolable. But if you just look at the numbers, the problems it caused for kids are worse than COVID. Um, because you're okay, so you're looking at mental health, and you have all of that, just the isolation, lack of social skills, getting behind in school, not getting exercise. I mean, it's already a problem. Not enough kids go outside to play. So you have these kids not getting PE, not getting recess. You have all of that, and you have isolation. Like, there were cases of, like, say, in abusive families, teachers are, when kids go to school, there's somebody outside of the family who can get a sense of whether that kid's okay, of whether that kid needs help. They might be able to say, they can also see if the kids get it, if a kid's getting enough to eat, if they have clean clothes, if they're falling asleep, if they are housed. That means that you had very vulnerable kids and kids without any eye from anyone. And I mean, my brother does a whole lot of work, as we know, with I mean, that's his job, social media victims. And a lot of kids were groomed online during the pandemic. They were on their phones, they were online even more than they were before. And I've been, there's a lot going on with now with the medical issues of puberty blockers and whether kids are transgender and all that. And I'm like on Facebook in the community, I publicly advocate for single sex spaces. That means single sex, um, sports, prisons, spaces. I don't get involved publicly in the debates about kids because I need to stay, because when you're for advocacy, it's better to stay focused on a few things. And I feel that um, since I don't have kids and I don't have medical knowledge, there's enough people talking about it, and I get enough shit from people for the stuff that I say. I can stay out of it. But yes, undoubtedly, it is incredibly fucked up. They give kids puberty blockers and it's insane. I mean, and I remember hearing about it like 15 years ago, and they were saying like, oh, it's good with gender confused kids. They can get this medication that delays puberty and they have time to figure that out. And we were being told that that was a good thing. And but that's ridiculous. I mean, you're not supposed to just it doesn't make sense to stop the body's natural process. It just and there's so many things wrong. See, what happens is they do puberty blockers. So I'm always like, okay, so how are they gonna decide who's gonna make the decision? Like, oh, I guess I do want to go through puberty. I mean, who's gonna decide that? And so then from that, then they start giving them cross-sex hormones to make them more like the opposite sex. Um, they get a lot of that online. There's a lot of grooming and indoctrination that takes place online. A lot of that was happening during the pandemic, and what are parents going to do? They need to go to work. So if you look at all of those problems, if you look at what it did to kids' mental health and their intellectual and social development, I really think it's going to be seen as a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was listening to, and I guess I was told that it was teachers' unions that didn't want to open because I mean, I know what a pediatrician that my family knows I mean, what he said is that the schools should never have closed the schools without a plan to open them back up. Because it's weird. I mean, I don't know, it was like people forgot in a way, because it just seems so weird. Like, okay, how can this not I mean, it was 2 years. Like, okay, it was springtime. So, okay, it's pretty rough, or, okay, if you take this big break right around the time of spring break, and okay, so then, okay, the kids are off for 2 weeks. And so by then it's May and they're almost out of school. Like, okay, you can see how that got lost. But then you had the summer to figure it out. And I remember it just seemed insane to me that school was not going to start in the fall. I think it was laziness. Except, I think I mean, now I'm just, it kind of, it's, didn't, it seemed like, um, it seemed like the lockdown, like it became normal. Didn't it kind of seem that way?
For me,
Well, I know
I
you,
work. I work,
yeah, well, it
so
was, yeah,
it just felt normal. I
yeah,
I still went to work and came. The only thing that was different was maybe less people outside.
yeah.
it was less people outside. So other than that, it was. I tell
Yeah.
everybody, to me, it was pretty much the same.
Well, it was for me since like you know, since I don't go, since I don't work full time anyway, and I work for myself at home. So it really wasn't, I mean, for me personally, it was kind of, um, yeah. And I did wind up, before too long, I mean, I did wind up spending time. I mean, my dad wanted me to stop volunteering at the food pantry, so I did, but then I went back later. But yeah, I mean, I did start spending time with people because I live by myself and I don't work, I don't have a regular job, and I felt like my, you know, I felt like my mental health gonna be the was gonna be too sacrificed. And it would be harder to figure that out for your kid if you were a parent. But yeah, yeah. Just have to go back and look at the numbers because I mean, at the beginning, it seemed, you were hearing about you were hearing about New York City and sirens going all day and all that. But anyway, so the lady that was that I heard talking about it was executive at Levi's Jeans in San Francisco. And so she was speaking out, criticizing the lockdown, and people at her job were telling her that she was talking too much. And so, um, but I so that was one of the reasons that she left. But also, she was a gymnast, and so she's a big leader in the fight to save women's sports. And so she started a athletic wear company, and I have a hoodie from them that I wear all the time. Maybe could save women's sports hoodie. And um oh shit, we should play. Okay, I'll pull up the commercials. We should play them on YouTube. She has these great commercials of girls about girls playing sports. And they're supposed to the best one is called Hey Nike. It's like, why won't you stick up for me, Nike? I mean, because it's bullshit. I mean, these like people find it like I mean, there's all the inequities with women's sports already, but then the companies like Nike get all trendy, and so then they give sponsorships to transgender women, and which is taking it. See, this is the thing. People think it's terrible. There's people that think there's something wrong with saying woman. Like basically, they're saying like, no, you have to say cis woman. You have to distinguish. There's cisgender, yeah. Cisgender means, yeah, that's me. And that's people that don't think that they're a different gender than they are. And then there's transgender. And so people get mad at me for saying woman. Like, no, that you can't. And I'm like, for a while I went along with it because it was like my fucking community. That's what people were saying. I'm like, yeah, the sister. But now I see how it's been. And like for a long time, I would not do it. I'm like, no, I don't need to change what I call myself. And so it's not like I ever changed in the big picture, but within my community, there were situations where I don't know, where I would just say cisgender because it made sense within that um, context. But I know when people get all these posts I'm making where I post about women, it pisses people off because I'm like, I don't need to fucking say I'm a woman. Transgender women are transgender women if they want. But yeah, they think people get mad at me for saying that. So anyway, I'm like, yeah, I'll say trans because like I'll say there's women and I'll say there's transgender women, I guess, because that's what they think, that's what they consider themselves. But I'm like, yeah, that's what you consider yourself, but I'm not changing I'm not, that doesn't mean I have to change what I think. So yeah, so we'll get to that in a little bit. But um, hey everybody. Anybody know what this is?
Oh, that's the orange juice.
Nice fresh orange juice. Oh man. Okay, I want people to know that this orange juice was sitting in my fridge yesterday waiting for Roselle.
Oh my gosh, my bad, Anna. And she's gonna drink it right in front of me.
Yeah, but I told you. Oh, I told you because I was, yeah. Well, yeah, but I'll make you some more.
All right,
Have
I'm working with you. I'll work it.
because
That looks
I got
good
or
too.
isn't it good? I got oranges right there because I was looking at it because the better the quicker you drink it, the better it is. Okay,
Yeah.
Ro was supposed to come over to get his orange juice at 12. I squeezed this like at 11.
So what time? So how many oranges does it take to make a glass that big? You would
10,
think. You said how many?
10.
10?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's insane. I mean, maybe it is insane how, I mean, it is insane how much oranges it takes. How much, I mean, when you juice, how little you get from what it's insane. Yeah. So that's why it actually makes sense that juice is expensive because you do, I mean, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I got oranges sitting right there, Roselle. Right there. All you need to tell me that you'll be over in half an hour, I'll start squeezing them.
All right. All right. We're
Okay.
gonna hook it up. I'll get you. I'll get you.
Okay. Because I don't sometimes I buy them, but I mean I was volunteering at the food bank and they have like bags of oranges. And so when I get a bunch of oranges, I'll juice them. But I don't even do it that much because it's just too expensive, but it is so good. Mm.
I think this is time for a break right now.
Yeah, yeah, I want to drink some orange
All
juice.
right, y'all. We're gonna take a quick break, and
Okay,
she's gonna while she
probably good
sips
thing.
down my lovely orange juice
Yeah,
on Anna's Global History Night,
that's
y'all.
right. Okay.
Let's do it.
All right.
And we are back, y'all. It's your boy DJ Raw. We are back on Anna's Global History Night Radio. Anna, you in the building?
Yeah, let me share the screen. I want to play those commercials.
All right. Anna, let's make host. And you are in.
Okay.
If you think girls and women's equality matter, stand up. If girls and women's sports matter, and you want your daughters to have the same opportunity you had, stand up. If you know that it isn't fair or safe to allow males to compete in girls' sports because it's, well, obvious, stand up. Don't be cowed by people who call you a bigot. You're not a bigot. Don't let men tell us how to be good girls. Don't let others tell you you just need to be quiet. Sit down. Be nice. It's not nice to further a lie. It's not mean to believe in women's equality. We deserve our own sports, privacy, fairness, safety. We deserve a chance to compete and win. So don't be nice. Don't be careful. Be honest. Be brave. Fight for women. We've come too far to give up now. And if you agree with that, stand up and stand with us.
Okay. And then this one.
Dear Nike.
Dear Nike.
Dear Nike. Why won't you stand up for me?
Why won't you stand up for me? Why won't you?
Why do you claim to support women and girls? Yet when we need you most,
You remain silent.
Today, males are claiming our identity.
our sports,
Our spaces.
men and boys are stealing opportunities, medals,
Trophies.
and our future.
It is not fair or just.
In fact, it's often dangerous. Yet you refuse to use your platform to stand up.
You say you're for social justice and progress.
So why do you allow men's rights to come before ours?
See, with a big platform,
Comes an even bigger responsibility.
You have a chance to do the right thing.
not just do the easy thing.
So we're asking you, Nike.
So we're asking you, Nike,
So we're asking you, Nike.
as the biggest voice in all of sports,
Will you stand up for me? Will you stand up for me? Will you stand up for me?
will you stand up for me? Will you?
Will you?
Will you just do it?
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Not good. Yeah, especially one little girl. Oh my God. She's so
Yeah, she was mugging,
cute.
wasn't she?
Yeah. So the one The woman that runs it, whose company it is named Jennifer Say, and she was a champion gymnast. So, she has that background with I think that's her daughter, the one with the little girl going in the I think that's her daughter, and that's her like coaching. So, oh God, I just love that because I mean, it's so simple. I mean, I'm sure it's like her kids and her kids' friends. I mean, it's obviously like, I mean, it's very slick and professionally done. But yeah, fuck you, Nike. So yeah, people, if you're gonna buy your athletic gear from them, I wear my hoodie all the time. So yeah, it's fucked up. I mean, they make money off of, they act like they have no problem with selling, having trans women model their sports bras because it's cool. Um, and meanwhile, I mean, it's sport. So each spot you take means somebody else doesn't get it. And so like the Boston Marathon, whatever, is now like males can run in the women's category, and they now have a non-binary category. I like say fuck non-binary. I don't believe it exists anymore. So basically, males can compete in the male team, then on in male category, in non-binary category, and in female category. I mean, basically, as far as I'm concerned, whomever's competing in the non-binary category is doing it because they think it'll get them the most advantage. Wow. So, yeah, I'm trying to promote a book called The Reckoning: How Democrats and the Left Abandoned Women and Girls. Because, okay, there is a belief, something that's commonly said, like, okay, how that white women won the election for Trump. And people might say like, oh, it means that white women are racist, which is true in some cases. But this issue is why people broke with the Democrats. It really did. I mean, my brother talked to people like that. And again, I mean, Twitter, the people I, um, follow on Twitter, um, don't yeah, you can't look at that as the whole, but you're gonna vote on what matters for you. And I mean, we've talked about this before. If a dude takes your scholarship, yeah, I'd vote for, I don't want to vote for the party that's promoting that. There was a Democratic congressman, all he said was that he thought it needed to be looked at and he didn't want his daughters playing with
no!
Huh? What?
Oh no!
Did I?
I think that was me. Accidentally
Okay.
press. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Okay, it wasn't me this time. Um, and there's a book about it explaining how breaking down the money. And I was corresponding with it a lot about my brother, who knows the donor world very well, because he's been trying to figure out how did this, they love to talk about what a small community is. Well, why did it get, okay, this community is so small. Why are so many people concerned about it? And it's because after gay marriage was legalized, people wanted another issue. Basically,
Why are so many people concerned about it?
Is that you? It's not me this time.
No, not me.
All right.
It's me.
And there's a few donors that care about this issue and have donated enough money. They donated money to Obama, which is, I mean, so basically some of this crap started in his administration, and they donated money to the ACLU. The ACLU is defending males being housed in women's prisons. And like, fuck the ACLU. I mean, they're defending fucking tech companies that that make money off of youth. And yeah, and so somebody was, I mean, people are nuts. I think, somebody was writing me saying, do you know how many trans women get raped in prison? I was like, well, so you're supposed to, yeah. So I was like, okay, that is all, that has always happened. And there's if these people really wanted to help, they could get involved in, they could help these people get into protective custody in men's prisons. Instead, they just want to move them to women's prisons. So they look good. And okay, there's the thing that's so crazy to me is, how are you allowed? It's one thing if if a transgender woman has been living as a transgender woman for a while, and I can understand sending somebody like that to a female's prison, and that's been done. And um I read that some of the women that have spoken out about dudes being housed in their prison were hesitant because they didn't they didn't want it to come out against trans women that are in the prison that have been living in women. What these people are defending is dudes that get sent to prison and then decide that they're women, so they get to go to a women's prison. How the fuck does that happen? Why does not every fucking dude, I mean, why is every dude there not trying to, you know? So yeah, and somebody was saying like, oh, well, it's only a few of them. Well, how many does it, you put one dude into prison cells that have like four people in them or something. Um, yeah, and that's like, okay, this is something that's always like, you could be, if you really cared about prisoners, if you really cared about incarcerated people, you would be working to improve whatever protective custody for these people, because I don't even fucking know how they figure that out. If you really look at reasons, I mean, I can't even, there's so many people that, if you're looking at categories and classifications for people that need protective custody, that's a lot of people. So, yeah, I mean, that you need to, whatever, try and like make these people safer, try and make prison, because it's also sort of like, okay, you're gonna take this one dude out of prison, meanwhile, out of the men's prisons, meanwhile, forget about all the other people there dealing with violence. And if you cared about the rights of the incarcerated, you would be looking, you wouldn't even be looking at these individuals. You'd be looking at the whole picture. So,
Yeah, I don't know. I think on that situation, that's a hard situation. Because I mean, it's everybody, anybody has a chance of getting assaulted in prison.
exactly.
So
Exactly. Yeah.
I think overall, I don't know
Well,
what to say on
yeah.
that one.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, I was just, you got
Yeah.
basically there's reasons, specific reasons, and then there's just the fact that people get assaulted in prison.
What do you think all those people in prison for? I hate to
Yeah,
say it like that, but
yeah. And,
that's
um,
just going to be a hard situation. I mean,
yeah,
prisons are just like any other place. They have areas where there's going to be a point where you're going to get to an area where no one can, you know what I'm saying? Where guards aren't going to be there.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
That's
And
just
so
a hard situation. And there's
so
people that get assaulted who aren't
exactly,
transgender. So
exactly.
that's just, I don't know how,
Yeah,
I don't,
yeah. So you have the fucking ACLU, and I mean, see, that's the other reason I like I'm down on Gavin Newsom. They passed like the transgender safety thing, safety, whatever. Like, okay, you're gonna pass a whole law or whatever and policy to protect dudes that decide they're women. Meanwhile, prisons are anybody could get assaulted. Meanwhile, prisons are dangerous places for everybody that's there. So, and people fucking fall for it. I think basically the people that fall for this shit have no understanding or knowledge or awareness of what prisons actually are. So,
yeah, yeah, I hate to say it, man. Yeah, it's one of them situations right there.
yeah,
That's a no-win situation, no matter how you put it. Because
it is. But, it is. And the, yeah, fuck the ACLU. I mean, basically, they're going to, because it's all money. Like, okay, you got a legal team representing one person, basically, like an individual to get that individual transferred. Whereas if they were actually interested in doing anything worthwhile, they would be looking at there's all sorts of things in criminal justice that they could be working on. They could go back and, I mean, to me, I just think that I cannot even fathom, they should be going back and figuring out, working on getting, I mean, that's all going to be different state to state and all of that. Go back and look at people that were convicted for weed before weed was legal. I mean, there's so many um important so many important things about justice, but they get so much money from, I, I mean, you know, basically it's smart if you want to pick pick a niche. I say niche, I'm not sure if it's niche or niche issue to get involved in and throw your resources and your mind at it, and like, yeah, you can get stuff done. I do that. I just happen to not do it. uh, I mean, I will find, that's what I try and do with anything I'm doing. I try and like find anything I'm trying to produce, any cause I'm trying to get involved in. You just, you find your piece. Um what I learned from my dad, how he did stuff, why he was so fucking effective was he'd isolate problems. And see, that's what these fuckers did, okay? Like they went and found like a specific issue that really doesn't affect that many people, but you can look good getting involved with it. But anyway, but like one of the things initiatives he worked on was just a system to track the health care for foster kids, since foster kids are moved around so much. At one point, a foster kid could be, their records didn't go with them. So a foster kid could show up someplace with no medical records. So that was what he worked on. That was, legislation and figuring out ways to fix that situation. And he did, so that his thing was you isolate problems. You isolate problems, you break things down, because there's so many great big complicated issues. And you isolate problems, you pick one, um, you figure out how to solve it, and you figure out reasons for people to agree with you about it. That's it. You go talk to the people. You've already figured it out. Figured it out for them. Like, okay, we want to do this, and this is good for you for this. Here you go. That's why he was so fucking good at what he did. I mean, he didn't, you know, it was figure out something you can do, basically. Figure out a change you can make. And so that's exactly what they did. Okay, so, oh, wow. So there's been some pretty interesting documentaries and all that about Jimmy Carter that I've been watching this past week.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, his funeral procession is going. So people are looking at I mean, the way history works is you remember, I mean, he's remembered because of the hostage crisis, but he deregulated the phone industry, basically. Not wild. I mean, because it used to just be there used to just be one phone company. He deregulated that. And one of the things people were talking about was that I mean, he was ahead of his time so far as the environment. He put solar panels on the White House. But then Reagan had them taken off. What an asshole. I mean, why would you have something taken off? And then eventually they were put back on. So people were not looking at the environment back then like they do now.
Nope.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's been pretty interesting. Um, okay, so I've been oh no, this isn't the one. So I've been reading a book called I Know Who You Are, and it's about the issue of using genetic data to solve crimes. And it's by someone who does that. And she'd been involved. Okay, so there was this crime. There was a serial killer rapist called the Golden State Killer, and um, genetic data was used to find him. And, then people started talking about privacy and blah, blah. Well, you put your data, okay, when you send your data to this company and they put it on a big DNA database so that people can find each other. So, all law enforcement needs to do is make a profile or whatever and look. I mean, so people can be looking for any number of reasons. Um, and so the lady that wrote this book was crucial. I think the book came out, I think maybe a year ago, and she'd been anonymous. She had not wanted her role in this made public because if you are, she's a civilian, if you know, word gets out that you're the person helping the cops solve these crimes, well, if these
Goes
murderers,
bad.
exactly, if these murderers don't get convicted, who are they going to come after? So she decided to go public. One thing she said was, um, you have the right of privacy, but no, you don't have the right to be anonymous because, I mean, birth records are public. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Well, not, but how she got into this was volunteering with a program that helps adopted people find their families because they're families of origin. And I've been sort of interested in doing that because that makes a big difference now for adopted people. I mean, they used to have to um Okay, Shantae just texted. He's like, when was this? You didn't tell me. Well, I just told you. Um, okay. I was like, there it is. Come on. Okay. So it used to be this whole issue with you have to go and try and find paperwork, and there's all these stories because like adoption agencies would have paperwork that they would not release to adoptees, and people's birth certificates were sealed. So that's a whole issue, major. And but no, you can put your information on this day on this data site. So a lot of people found it that way. So the first story she wrote about was a woman that was trying to find out who she was. And she didn't even, um, she has, like, what she knew about herself was that she'd lived at a trailer park and would go over to she was real little and she would go over to the home of somebody else in the trailer park who, like, that's why you need other people who noticed that she was really ragged and hungry and nobody seemed to be taking care of her. So she sent the little girl to stay with her grandmother, and so with her daughter got her away from someplace, and so it turned out that the guy that was supposedly her father wasn't her father. So she didn't know who she was at all. And then she stayed with this family for a while, but because none of that had been legal, the state like took her away and put her in foster care. So she didn't even get to stay with the people she'd gotten to know. So she didn't know who she was. She didn't even know when she was born. So she was she wanted to find that out. So the way so they get the DNA profile, and so basically this lady really knows her DNA, because like with the DNA they start so she does all they do all this research going back, and so they'll keep going back. They keep to find the person that they're descended from, and they keep going back until they find a match, basically a match between this person and somebody else. Like they go way far back, and so um like they're trying to figure out like, okay, so they're going back and okay, so this person's parents had this and this person's parents had that, and you're going further back and further back. And then finally you get to a point where you find someone that has something in common with them. So then they need to go forward. So then they need to start, I mean, so they call it building trees. So then they find that person who has something in common and start to track their descendants. So like say that person had 3 kids, you need to track to find those 3 kids and then their kids. And it was uh, it was so confusing. I want to go back and read that part of it, but it was really interesting. And she said that basically the DNA doesn't lie. And so if you have the DNA information, you could always find out who someone is. Not necessarily where they are or something like that, but you can find out who they are. So that's how they found her family. And it turned out that she was connected to um, a case where 2 bodies had been found in a drum by hunters in 1980, like in 1980, and then unidentified remains. And then 15 years later, I guess nobody looked that closely back then, they found 2 more remains that were also in a drum. Just, I mean, clearly done by murdered by the same person. So they figured out that she was related to them, that that was her mother, and her sister, like basically it was this lady, and that this little girl had 2 sisters, and they were all buried there, and then the fourth person still isn't known. But it turned out they were able to find out that the guy that had abandoned her was the person that had killed those people that were found in the drum. And he died by the time they found that out, but she was able to connect with their mother's family. She actually, hmm, I don't think I don't think they even tried to track who her father actually was, or maybe they knew. Anyway, so with the okay, so with the Golden State Killer, she was contacted by a police officer that had been working on that case for a long time, and the problem they ran into was not having DNA because this guy had committed a lot of crimes, but in different jurisdictions. So it was stored in different places, and then it had been so many years that each time you test a segment of tissue, whatever it is that has the DNA, you can't do it again. You can't reuse it. So as they kept testing it, as new technology developed, and they couldn't, they had no more DNA to use. So then they found, because I mean, stuff can be stored like in cities and stuff. And so they were able, but then there was a pathologist who always took two samples of whatever he did. So, just in case, like with everything, seems like everybody should do it. So they were able to find a sample that was unopened because the guy had done these two procedure, whatever. I don't want to, there were two samples and one of them was not even opened. So she was able to do that, to go back and find the match and then go forward. So she wound up with six people that it could have been. And she said that there could be like some confirmation bias, like the cop thought that there was somebody who he thought was the suspect. And he had reasons to think that, but she said it's not him. He doesn't have the DNA. Basically, that's not, you can't lie about that. You have it or don't have it. So, but then they had there were two brothers that were suspects. So then because that's identical DNA, so then you need to figure out which one of them did it. So they were able to find out who the person was through that. So it was the first case that had used DNA analysis to find a criminal. And now they just do it all the time. So, I mean, I get, to me, it's almost like that sounds like the fucking ACLU. Like, basically, I mean, people like that would have a problem. Like, okay, you're using so like, I guess in a way, I mean, the information's on there. Like, it's not like this person sent in his DNA. It would have been a relative or something, but I mean, if people are using, yeah, people have rights. When you arrest these people, they should have their rights. But I mean, if you can spend if you have people that are going to spend hours tracking strands of DNA in order to, I mean, this guy he killed a bunch of people, he raped a bunch of people in order to get someone like that off the street, then do it, basically. Want to take a break?
Let's do it.
Okay.
AnnA's Global History Radio, y'all. Let's go. We are back, y'all. Welcome to AnnA's Global History Radio. Annie, are you in the building?
Yes.
Mm.
Okay, so let me see. What else is going on in the world?
I don't know.
Okay. Um, oh, okay. So this was fucking lame. Speaking of, this is the other reason. Now, I'm real mad at Newsom about this. So, um, Vallejo has had, I guess since COVID, the murder rate here has doubled. There was somebody was killed on New Year's Eve here. Somebody was killed like a week before that. There's been like 24 murders in Vallejo in 2024, something insane like that. So people have been trying to get help from the state, the county, anyone. And I mean, I think our leaders are ineffectual, and that they should have been able to do a better job. But there was a petition sent to Gavin, and so he issued this statement. And okay, it said, okay, wait a minute. Okay, because I mean, basically, he's sent people. I mean, he sent people to help. Okay, he made this fucking statement and he said, I just want folks in Vallejo to know you are not getting the CHP to do the work of local law enforcement. I mean, what the fuck? Folks in Vallejo, people are upset about crime. I mean, um, so he said, I just want folks in Vallejo to know you're not getting the highway patrol to do the work of local law enforcement. They think the state's going to come in and provide the support for free, Newsom said. They have a lot of vacant positions. I guess they get budget savings. And instead of contracting, for example, with the sheriff's office in the county, they're hoping to get the state to do it for free. We're not going to be in that business. I was like, what the fuck? I mean, so you're just basically saying, well, like, what does that even mean? Like, okay, that's our money. I mean, we have as much right to the state's resources as anyone. And I guess whatever. I mean, people want help. And so, when you say folks in Vallejo want whatever, like you say that you mean people, and people want help with crime. It's not our job to figure out whatever. People want help. People are asking for whatever help. He's like, well, I guess they want the state to pay for it. Well, we pay taxes to the state. I mean, so I am done with Newsom. That's mean. That's rude. I mean,
Wow, did he really say that?
yes. You want me to read it again?
No.
Yeah, he really said that. And I was just stunned. I read it over to see, like, wait, okay, did something come after that? I mean, he made it sound, I mean, it's sort of, he makes it sound like, okay, people don't like we could. That's why I hate this. He makes it sound like we could just do something else. I mean, okay, if this wasn't, people wouldn't be asking for help if it weren't, if we were able to, if there was something else to be done, it would have been done. Oh, it's for savings. Well, for who? I mean, they're short staffed. It's sort of like I have this, unless the money is being pocketed, what does that even mean? Yeah,
I
that
don't
was
get that. That's crazy.
it's really fucked up. We have as much right to the state money as anyone. And he's saying, like, I guess they're not hiring people because the budget's saved. Like, no, nobody wants to work here. I mean, they have to, I mean, they always announce when they hire more cops. So yeah. Yeah, that is just fucked up. How dare you talk about Vallejo that way? Like, if he had said, well, if he'd made it a, if he, ew, sounds like a sideshow happening down there.
Dude,
Uh,
you heard that?
yeah.
I think it was close to here because I heard it like it was right down there.
Yeah, they do it a lot down on, yeah. I think, yeah, on Santa Clara. It seems like there's a lot, like, Santa Clara.
Well, since what's his name? Ricardo, I guess that's his name, the guy that finished the mural that he made, the one that he's drawn on the ground.
You
Yeah,
have
that's them. That's the sideshow. But you never came and walked in the back where the parking lot is, and that guy has that mural. He's finished.
okay.
So right now there's like people partying. Angola, the dude that be listening to Jamaican music all the time, they all
Oh yeah.
party in that spot.
Yeah. Yeah. Are they there now?
I hear Angola, I hear the Jamaican music. He's the only one that plays it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There's
Because
probably other people out there too.
might still be people milling about from the Russell show. But yeah, I want folks, okay, so if he said, I mean, if he wants to criticize the government, which is still bullshit, I mean, what the fuck does he expect the city of Vallejo to do? I mean, that's still bullshit. But when you say folks in Vallejo, you make it sound like you're talking about citizens that want help with crime. And it's sort of like if there was people are asking for help because they need it, and it's not like people can he makes it seem like you could just decide to do something else. Like he's saying something that like if people don't clear encampments, they won't, if the cities don't clear encampments, they won't get money. So, okay, well, there's no place for people to go. And so if you don't clear them, you're just so what are people supposed to do? Like, okay, clear the encampments and people can't go anywhere, or don't clear the encampments and have even less money to try and help. Damn, it's loud down
Yeah,
there.
they're getting down.
Shit.
It must be closer to you because I hear it, but I don't hear it as close. I
Wow.
see the smoke though.
Really?
Yeah, they must be real close to you.
Damn.
Ooh.
Fucking
Yeah,
Vallejo.
somebody's car's messed up.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So I'm going to New York again this week.
Nice. What part of New York? Same place, Manhattan?
Yeah, where my brother lives. I'm gonna try and we're gonna go to two operas.
Nice.
Yeah,
Right on.
yeah, yeah. Um, so I'm figuring out what I'm gonna do. I need to get back, where I'm gonna go.
Are we doing the show on Sunday still?
Yeah,
Oh, you're
I
gonna
get
be
back.
back before then? Okay.
Yeah, I get back. Yeah, yeah. I leave real early Wednesday and I get back real late Saturday. It's the
Gotcha.
problem.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be a bitch to get home from. That's the problem with having my my brother gets me the ticket. So, yeah, yeah, but that'll be cool. But yeah, I'm figuring out what I'm gonna do. But wow. I mean, that's pretty fucking amazing. New York again.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Damn. Well, it's nice doing the show this early.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it. It all depends. You know how I am. I don't
Yeah.
try to, I just was early. I was like, you know what, shoot, if I'm here early, we might as well try to do it a little early.
Well, yeah. I mean, I just figure you should have the option in case you just want. I mean, if you're around and you want and
Oh
you
yeah, definitely.
do it, we should.
Definitely if I'm here early, I try to do it early.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Try and get a good night's sleep.
definitely will.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, will
Okay,
do.
okay. Did you do anything for New Year's?
Nah, I stayed home.
That's in here.
I wanted to see what this New Year's was gonna look like, so I just chilled.
Mhm.
I was like, nah,
Yeah,
too much going on.
yeah, yeah. They were running. Yeah, they were running on. They were
You
running
see,
on.
right now they're already doing side shows. They're already comfortable with doing it already. Ain't even haven't even reached midnight yet. Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't out on no New Year's.
It's always New Year's here.
I know, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm trying to get the one of the local because the committee I'm on that's supposed to like look at like uses for tax money. Um, I'm trying to get him to look at different sideshow deterrents, basically. And what I'm saying, we need to there, because there's different stuff you can try and do. I mean, stuff off to the side and like there's different. So my thing is, um, it's expensive. All this stuff is really expensive to do. So I think some money should be spent figuring out the best thing to do, basically.
You know what it is that they need to do? Because I do notice from going to Richmond, Vallejo is kind of a little bit behind when it comes to that stuff with the street stuff. They need to put some more speed bumps
Yeah.
and they need to put roundabouts.
But
I
with
hate to say,
I
huh?
thought too, but people can drive people at sideshows, they just drive over roundabouts.
You can't if you do the right kind. You can't. It's dude. It's like wrecking your car purposely. It's just
If you
they won't
okay.
they won't do it. I don't know what roundabouts you've seen, but the ones I've seen, the one in Rich, I mean, you're gonna mess up your car. I don't see how you would.
That's not coming from me, it's coming from I've like a cop told me that.
Dude, they're being late. They're just being late. Dude,
Oh,
you should do it. We do
no.
it. We have them all in Richmond. They have
No, I
them in.
mean it was
They have them in Vacaville.
yeah. I mean no, I mean it was a
Uh,
no,
and
I
then they
mean
have speed, and then the speed bump. Of course, speed bumps. The natural.
yeah.
You can't really do a sideshow over no speed bumps. That's just you just can't. So if they put more of those around, especially like where the intersection is at, where you do the sideshow,
Down there.
there you
Yeah.
go.
Well, yeah. And no, I mean I was having um because this is why there needs, I mean, I'm not, this is why there needs to be no, I mean, he wasn't, I mean, I mean, he was speaking from his, I mean, so then you need to figure out the right kind of
Right.
violence or whatever. So basically, they're
Because
like,
like here, you guys really have too much of nothing. I don't even think you guys. I don't even know any spots that really have speed bumps. To be honest with you, I don't
no,
even think our parking lot here has speed bumps. So I mean, those are issues.
yeah. Yeah,
You
and
know.
then well, one of the cops was telling me about there's something like there's some sort of thing they can do, some sort of structure they can put in that tears up tires, and he said that there needs to be a study about it because you can't just like put up stuff like that. So um you can't, I mean, the police department needs us. You
I
can't
know.
just
I get what you're saying. I get it. But I'm just saying, me noticing Vallejo really doesn't have any of that almost anywhere. You guys don't really have speed bumps at all.
yeah.
You go to Richmond now, because Richmond was like that. They never had speed bump stuff, and they'd have people side showing all around and everything. They put the speed bumps up and those crazy turnabouts. It don't happen as much no more.
Well, that's good. Because like, yeah, I
So
mean,
it works.
well, yeah, but they can't, I mean, if you need if you're gonna spend the kind of money to do something like this, you really well, you need to come to some consensus before you do it. And you need numbers, you need statistics. I mean, you can't, yeah, you just do to make changes like this. I mean, so to spend this much money, I think, um, I mean, that's what I've been asking people about, you or statistics or accounts. You need to look at, yeah, you need to look at different things. So, but yeah, there should be fucking something. So that's what I'm trying, that's what I'm trying to do. Like, okay, start like, um, you know, you want to spend some time looking at different options and explaining them, because if you just go do one, because if you decide to do something, then you're always going to be hearing from people about something else, which you will anyway, because people are just like
That's what
that.
I'm saying. I
You
kind of
will,
feel I'm kind of like the At least doing something is better than doing nothing. When people
Well,
see you do something,
well,
it's better.
I think that too, pretty much. I mean, especially like relatively.
I mean, like a speed bump here and there. I mean, in overall senses, that shouldn't be a lot of money for them to get a couple of speed bumps in
No,
certain spots.
no, it should it
Maybe one or two turnabouts. Maybe like I don't know. I'm sure the police know where. I'm pretty sure all the sideshows are happening in certain
oh, definitely.
spots.
Yeah,
Put a
start.
put a
Yeah,
turnabout in that spot. Start with
yeah,
these little spots. See what happens. If it stops in those spots, I hear them and they go to different spots.
yeah, because that's
You
what they do.
start doing it little by little and getting all the
Exactly.
spots.
Exactly. That's what you got to do. I mean, yeah.
But that's why they're so easily able to drive so fast and do it because there's nothing really stopping them. You put a speed bump in a turn. I don't care what they try to say that I'm telling you, once they run over that a few times, it's just not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, he was talking about different kinds of roundabouts. I mean, it was one of it was a wide-ranging conversation. So, yeah.
You get one of them roundabouts and put those like that, call them the big yellow cement trash cans where they
Uh-huh.
put all the cement in them. So
Yeah.
it's like almost hitting the wall.
Yeah.
Trust me, they're not gonna
Okay.
even attempt that. That's just crazy.
Okay. Well, hopefully we can do something.
But yeah,
'Cause, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and it's just so easy because they can just send up they're one place and they just send up a WhatsApp to meet someplace else.
yeah.
So,
But
yeah.
eventually, it adds up. Like it did it in Richmond. They
Yeah.
just keep putting them down little by little, and eventually, well, hey,
What you got to do. Yeah. You got to just start somewhere. You got to do so. Yeah. Because I believe in taking action. You got to do something.
we
Okay.
got
You
to do
pick it up.
something,
That makes one less place. Okay. And you just got to do
right?
that. I mean, otherwise you could if you don't do something, you can just be complaining about the exact same thing in 10, 20 years.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'll see you Sunday night.
That'll be it.
Definitely.
All right, everybody.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Later.